Excellent. So let's get started here with just some intros. I am Nai G Coach. That is Nai G Coach. Here we have
Jailin.
And Zaini Dimas.
Can you guys go ahead and introduce yourselves as well?
All right.
Mitchell?
All right then. I am Nai G Mitchell.
Did you get him?
Let's try it again.
Say again, Mitchell, because now we see your face on there. That's good. Go ahead again, please.
All right. I'm Nai G Mitchell.
Excellent.
And Nijai Infinity.
Excellent.
Oh.
Great.
All set?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this weekend went well. Our field missions are yielding good data, and we're getting.
I actually don't think I was introduced.
Yes, you were.
Oh, I was.
Yeah.
So this weekend went well with the field missions. We'll keep going forward to that in the coming weeks. And then Jailin also was doing some technical stuff, upgrades, as well as some more of the flyers. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, so I was just working on some optimizations that we had talked about during a brainstorming session. One, I was making a black and white version of the ebook, so it's available to the people that have those Kindle Paperwhites, and the tables, the colored tables don't really come through that well. So a black and white version of it. I'm gonna put that up probably by tomorrow. Also working on. I haven't put the the hyperlinks to the terms within the Kindle ebook, Mike, that we had talked about. So we would be able to cross-contextualize. I'm holding off on those until we get the Pro converted Kindle. That I'm working with that third-party service provider to get done. So once I get that, then I'll do those kinds of enhancements to the Kindle, so we can interface with it more. But I was actually also working on the flyers. I can show you guys. I added the Cerebrals flyers to the flyers that we already had available, because we want to be able to have flyers for all the interpretives. So let's see here. Sure. These are the flyers for the field. And so these, you guys have seen, these are the general, this is the general flyer that we give out. And then we give, if we have a soft read on them, we give them a mojo card too. So we had the Naiji, we had Nijai, we had Shinai, and Jaini, and Zaini. But since then we've added the Zinai, the Naizi, and the Nizai.
The
Nizai. That one, yeah.
That's a Nijai.
Oh yeah, that's the picture. Okay, so I still, okay, thank you. And that's why I didn't order it today, because I purposefully said, I was like, okay, I want to take a look at this again tomorrow when I'm fresh, before I actually order it. Because there's always like one little detail. So, but I'll be ordering those. But yeah, so we're gonna, I'll be ordering that tomorrow. So we're gonna have flyers for all the interpretives, and yeah, that'll be great.
Thank you very much, Ellie.
Yeah, and oh, the one last thing is, you know how we had talked about having collages on script uploaded and set to private, and then we're gonna put links on the Kindle ebook that will link to those collages. So when it says like Nijai females, it'll link to the Nijai female collage. and so we'll, basically we'll have a collaging solution, something that links the book.
privacy thing that gets around copyright issues.
Copyright, exactly.
Excellent.
So
That's that breakthrough and the YouTube not recording on this, both are really huge breakthroughs. Excellent.
Yep.
That's good stuff.
Oh
Because,
yeah, and
because now we can leverage the collages while keeping it controlled. You know what I mean?
yeah, exactly. And
also another thing that you added, Jilene. I don't know if we mentioned this, but you had an Excel version of the Rosetta Stone of the Human Soul.
yes, you're right. We added an Excel version, so it's going to be a
few people really like
table
that.
that's easy to reference. Yeah.
Yeah, very, very useful.
Yeah. Then one more thing. The last thing is that related to the flyers. So I use Vistaprint, and one of the things that came up in the brainstorming session was to have a storefront that had the Podlair brand standard material. So like our flyers and the business cards and whatever else we want to put up there, like T-shirts, mugs, notepads, and so on. So for those who are doing their own local Podlair missions, they can order flyers, like the brand standard Podlair brand standard flyers through the Vistaprint storefront, and have those, to go out into the field with. So I'm going to be setting that up this week. So we'll have that.
Cool.
Excellent.
Is that everything, Charlie?
Yes, that is everything.
Great. Okay. Mike, Infiniti, we'll
Yes.
turn it over to you to go through your reaction to start of the week. And like before, we'll let you go by section, and you can add whatever thoughts you want, and then pause at the end of any major section so the rest of the team can chat about it.
Yes.
All right, take it away.
Okay. I'm just looking over my notes at this point in terms of. I got most of the cues that you mentioned before. Again, let me just step back and find.
Like I said, this is great for your experience, but also it's good to just read out what your experience was and then pause at the end of a section, because it might stimulate a lot of good thought from the other practitioners.
Yes, that makes complete sense. Okay, so last week's vlog was about Christine Adams, about Jaini Christine Adams, and all right. So I'll read what I wrote before. So this week's Mojo Reading vlog presented by Coach is on Jaini Christine Adams. Since she was one sample in which neither Jailene, Ademus, Mitchell, nor I got correct in our sample quiz last week, Coach felt that she would make a great study since we were essentially choosing me alpha mojos for her rather than her actual mojo, Jaini. Thus, most of Coach's vlog related to how her specific maneuvers differed from the analogous maneuvers of a Nijai and Nizai. Okay. In retrospect, I probably could have seen that her mouth region comes out at me more dominantly than her eyes, signifying a discerner lead. Also, her eyes carried a gauzy, meshy look, which is almost a Jaini trademark. I think that I put too much emphasis on the effects that her eyes gave me, and while I do think that I noticed the Jai/Z quite directly, which as an Nijai has obviously an enormous effect of familiarity to say the least, all this pulled me towards Nijai rather than Jaini. I also think that I might have been affected by her general with-itness, which made me think Nijai rather than Jaini. However, with-itness and Jaini can 100% go hand in hand, and that alone is clearly insufficient evidence to choose Nijai over Jaini. Okay.
Excellent. And this is the stuff we covered in last time's vlog session of recording?
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. Okay. To me, 3 cues really stood out in terms of demonstrating that she is in fact a Jaini. The first is that Jai heaviness that went right up beyond the brim line straight into her eyes. It looked like it added weight to her eyes and even gave them a bit of a pseudo-closed look. total Zhai. So that's number one. Number two is that amazing cue that Coach noticed of the Ni plus Z double barrel interspersed with the Zhai resonating and closing of the eyes. Usually those two cues will come out typically in two different instances, and especially so for a Ni Zhai who either would remain in objective Ni plus Z mode or would channel inward into Zhai, but in a manner that lacks the Ni plus Z double barrel. So it's basically, so it's like two different responses. One is an objective response of Ni plus Z, and the other one is a little bit more of a subjective channeling going inward of Zhai. As Coach nicely mentioned in the vlog, those two cues are pretty much at opposite extremes of the subjective-objective experience. So why would they necessarily be interspersed, especially within a Ni Zhai? I know that in my own responses, when I'm in double barrel mode, I feel very action-oriented and in the moment. However, when I am in a more poignant, soulful Zhai moment, I'm almost taken away from the moment in a sweet reverie of some sort. Totally different responses. However, for Adams, she actually closed her eyes in heavy Zhai, smack dab in the middle of that double barrel. To me, this screams Zhai Alpha, since although the double barrel is taking place, it is actually not as native to her in terms of pod powers as a heavy Zhai would be. Outstanding observation, Coach. So that was number two. And then number three is...
Go ahead and we'll pause after number three. Do a little check.
Okay, cool. The third is something that made a ton of sense to me, but I'm not sure that I ever heard it in the way Coach described it. Basically, if a Ni Zhai does a Vi check, since Z is on the same modulation side but on a higher priority pod power than Vi, it is not uncommon for Z to accompany Vi. However, by having Z accompany Vi, Zhai will naturally decrease proportionally. So for Ni Zhai, Z plus Vi can cause Zhai to drop. That's the key point here. For Zhai Ni, it is a bit different. When a Zhai Ni does a Vi check, since Z is a lower priority pod power than Vi, it will not be as common for Z to be included, although it still can at times. Thus, by Z not being included, Zhai can still play an important role during a Vi check. This interplay of Zhai plus Vi with a sprinkle of Z articulation is precisely what was observed in Adams. This implies Zhai Ni over Ni Zhai. Another really insightful observation.
Great, thank you very much.
Yes.
I'm glad you're able to see those things, and I think you'll find that as you note them in her, that you'll be able to see it easier in other ones of that kind of riff.
Oh, totally. Absolutely.
Then from Jailene, Demas, and Mitchell, if you guys want to just add anything, what I'd like to ask you is basically, when you're trying to distinguish between the two ad-roms, is there anything that you tend to do, or just anything that you can think about? That comes a lot, the experience of trying to separate two ad-roms.
I think for me, I first thing I kind of try to look at the difference between like the energy in the eyes more versus more energy in the mouth, and sometimes that can yield a lot of data.
Popping.
Yeah, and that can yield a lot of data sometimes. Or the gesturing, of course, that's a big one that
And
jumps
when you're
out.
talking, you should have the screen on you. But get used to this.
Yeah.
It might actually just do it automatically.
I don't think it does.
Yeah, I'm sure, but yeah. So in any case, the another thing that I look for also that seems to be a good indicator of the difference. Something that's more easily notable is the gesturing. So the Franzi with the Zhai Ni versus the gummy of the Ni Zhai. So, how about you?
I do it several ways. Usually, if I feel like I'm between two ad-roms, then the reason will be some kind of physiological thing that's may seem like there's blur zone. For instance, if it's like a Ni Zhai who happens to look kind of long, or particularly skinny, so you have to like look extra hard to see if that actually is going to be either that or start looking elsewhere. For that, energy on the eyes, that's a good one too. But also, the Nijai have more caginess, where as that's the more integral part of the peak pathway, starting with Ni going into Nijai.
If you can't think of it, it's fine. I'm very curious to that point, because one thing that Infiniti mentioned was that this Shiny was a bit throwing him because of her downness.
Yeah.
How do you set general like downness from that kg of a Ni Alpha?
Downness and kg.
Because I think we would agree that
It's still
that Shiny was
okay
down.
because she's down, but she still has energy that's kind of centered around the calmness of equilibrium. So whenever she kind of goes in for something, but you could see that she begins by centering herself and then kind of reacting. And then when it's in that reacting, then there is kind of, she actually does, have some kind of grassy Z for Shiny. But it's not going to have as with the Nijai, because they can sometimes have like grassy Z too. I'm not sure how to explain it other than they usually this is used for Nai, but it has kind of become more broken rhythm to their style,
I like that.
Yeah.
That's really good, actually. I like that a lot also.
Could we click on Mitchell and see if he'd like to contribute anything?
Yeah.
Mitchell,
I definitely have something to contribute. I mean, I definitely agree with everything that's been said so far. And one thing I was just sort of thinking about in terms of distinguishing, particularly Shiny and Nijai, is that because it's related to the discernment lead thing, but it's not just the mouth energy, but also how it goes up like into their whole face. You could even see it. And the Shiny do this thing like with their eyebrows.
Yes.
They're like this imperious flexing thing. It's hard to explain. I can't really do it without like kind of.
I know exactly what you're talking about. It's that tautness.
Exactly. And all Shiny do it. And Nijai, there's more like a kind of loose caginess to their eyes.
Yeah.
I mean, in my case, you never see it going higher. It only goes up, up to here, really. And then it's like the eyes, it just doesn't go up.
Yeah.
Well, let me smile. It's just not hitting that higher point.
And then you look at Jylene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me, it kind of stuff into this area.
Yeah, so you can choose like Chinese. You can make like just a small mouth movement, like a point or whatever, and there'll be these little dimplings
here.
up in the
amazing
eyes, and so it's a.
They're just like more clenched by your expressioning in general. They just move with it, like in a rhythm with it, not apart from it.
Good point.
Yeah,
very good point. I like that rhythm thing that Mitchell said there, because there is a rhythm thing, and the knee keeps a faster rhythm, and with the Nijai, the Shai has to keep up with that knee. But with Shiny, it's the opposite. The knee is there to actually help feed where the equilibrium is at.
Yeah. So my being is like always resonating with something, and then bobbles along. Yeah.
Totally. On that, there's actually a physical one that I tend to note a lot. It's subtle, but once you note it, I find it's one that I go to quite a lot, particularly like as Adimus mentioned, when you're dealing with one that's like a Nijai, a long face, or a more compact Shiny.
Yeah.
So they're like, they have, say a Nijai with longish fingers, or a Shiny with shorter hands. Like if you were looking for the Franzi, just the structural, say, what do you call that, ratios, height to width kind of stuff, that can feel confusing. But one thing that's always there is the viscosity. And there is a distinct difference in the viscosity between all inverse relationships. And so if you can see that, it's one of the main things that tells them apart is that she was very down, but there was a viscosity when she did, and I believe this would added that calming quality.
Yeah.
Is that height? The language is that heightened viscosity.
Sure.
Cool. Excellent. That was great, everyone. Thank you. Mike, please continue.
Yeah. Okay. Too many windows open. Hang on one second. Okay. As you will see, I still have questions regarding Okay, so I have questions regarding the going home versus the going underwater differences in Jaini versus Nijai, respectively. However, beyond this, I am now able to see how Christine Adams is, in fact, a Jaini, versus, and hence a subjective ADROM versus a Nijai and an objective ADROM. So that's all I had to say in terms of what I affirmatively got, and then we can go through the specifics of the few things that I didn't get.
Okay. He said that we can go through the specifics of a few things that
Confusing?
were confusing.
I mean, really, there are two cues that kind of go at the same thing, and then there's a third that goes in a different direction. So,
what? Can you actually clump those two together?
For sure, 100%.
Cool.
I mean, they're different in time, but I can tell you when those two timestamps are.
Yeah, we don't really need to look at more just what was confusing.
Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah, I can easily clump them. So basically, what happens is you're saying that she's going home rather than going underwater. And what I noticed was that it happened for such a tiny snapshot of time. And so I'm asking myself, okay, so it happened for such a tiny amount of time, maybe she was comfortable going home. How would I know other than the fact that maybe in that snapshot she was completely, comfortable with going home rather than going underwater?
Very good question. Okay, so two things on that is subtlety and continuity. So it's a subtle cue that you'll be noting, and the context I was noting it from is one of continuity, which is there was something that was consistently on, and then there was a quick shift from it. That's important to note, as opposed to going from a vacuum and then seeing a cue. I'm actually seeing a dip or a transition in an ongoing rhythm. So it's almost like hearing a song and you hear a beat skip, and that catches your attention. Okay.
Gotcha.
It catches your attention because you're actually listening to the song, and then all of a sudden there's a little something. Okay.
Yeah.
So the subtlety, let's get to that now, is talking about the layers. We talked about a bit going up and down, perception, the logic-based discernments, values-based discernments in the mouth, and then we talked about whether or not the mouth pops first or the eyes pop first, and that kind of gets a bit into this terrain hierarchy, which one comes out more forward into the environment. All right, that's very important now to answer your question, Infinity, is this is why it's critical to kind of build stages. And what I can work on is one that you can do now. You said you were able to see the gaussiness, the pointed gaussiness quite well now. That's more just
totally. Yes.
Oh, great. Yes. Okay, this will help it make sense. And you note that the Nijai does not have that gaussiness.
Right.
Good. Okay.
I mean, for the most part, I can tell. Once in a while, there might be a poster that confuses me. For the most part, though, I can tell that difference.
Right.
Yes.
We're all working on our accuracies in every sample, but that is something that general's popping for you more.
Absolutely.
Okay,
no doubt.
Because kind of like doing like geometry, once I know a person can see something, I can use that as a given to go to the next higher level.
100%. Totally agree with you.
Okay, so now I want you to visualize that. In fact, you don't have to visualize technically. You can actually look at Jailene right here, but visualize give you a Nijai as well, which is she has that veil of poignancy. Okay?
Yes.
I now want you to consider that veil of poignancy to be water.
Okay.
All right. So that means right now my fingers represent the gaussiness. Because of this, she's already underwater.
Yeah. There's a barrier. There's a layer. There's like a membrane.
Right. There's a critical difference because we're talking about going home or going underwater. If you equate the gaussiness veil, also with the demus, same thing with the unflappable gaussiness. If you equate that to the water that I'm referencing in the going home or going underwater, subjectives are already underwater. That's the gaussiness you're seeing in the towers.
That makes a ton of sense.
Okay, so here's the gaussiness. Ready? Now she closes her eyes. Nothing really changes.
Correct. Underwater. It's just more underwater versus less underwater.
Right. Okay. Now the difference is if she was a Nijai, okay. I'll show
Can
my.
you apply to me?
Yeah, I was just saying how to do it, but actually I have to do it myself. So say that I'm a Nijai. What's going to happen is, do you see this veil of poignancy? You see that, Mike?
I'm trying to. Yeah.
Just my fingers. I'm
Oh,
not a Nijai.
yeah, fine. Okay, yeah. I mean, there's a barrier. There's like there's a layer.
Right, but I'm a Nijai now, so I want you to see what I'm doing.
Okay.
This is the native position of Jai veil of poignancy on a Nijai.
That makes sense.
The water runs underneath the knee
I
eyes.
see what you're saying. Yes. Okay, so we're basically looking at this in terms of 3D depth in a way, where you're kind of going deeper. Now I basically just penetrated my head through the layer of water,
Right,
rather than having it in front of me. Is that what you're basically trying to say?
And I'm saying that's baseline.
Got it. Yeah, totally.
Now watch
I get that.
Okay, so this is what's going to happen to you, Infiniti, when you close your eyes to go to Jai. The water will roll in on them of your subjective power. The veil of poignancy will come on you heavy as you go into the Jai.
Right. That's not the normal state.
Right, and so if you can register that gauziness, the gauziness of a Nijai is under the dancing eyes, and so their gauziness generally comes over when they close their eyes.
That makes sense.
And you'll see kind of like a weight going on their eyes, a little uncomfortable. There will not. It's very subtle, but it won't be there. She is not going to demonstrate an uncomfortability of water rushing onto her eyes. And that's because, like a Demas, her discernment power is gauziness. It's already there. So now she's closed her eyes. She was already underwater. Nothing changes.
Exactly.
Now, to see this in mathematical reverse, it applies also to...
of course.
Going the other direction, which is... what you saw with the Mike is, you naturally are like this, Mike. And then you go to your Jai, close your eyes, it'll go over.
Right. In this case, it's the exact opposite of where it would basically where it would come out, and that's totally different. That's
right. And this relates to the that we saw before on Christine Adams, which is we'll see it where she'll look out of sorts. Because we talk about going home like it's a subjective thing, but it actually goes both ways. We don't sometimes mention as much of the objective, but we should. It's equally important. Is you'll see it when she does double barreling or jutting. Go forward. And when she does, you'll actually see her pushing through. And it is, you can feel like the points he's still weighing, and that's the viscosity.
Is that why she's still kind of doing a Jai movement, even though she's double barreling? It's sort of a compromised scenario to her. It's not compromised, but you know what I'm saying. It's somewhere
a combination. And also when if she continues to jut forward, it'll have that languidness because the Jai is actually holding it back. And so it's almost like a mask getting stretched. More like this, like push forward, Darlene.
That's cool.
Like that. The Jai never ever leaves, and then she goes. And that's why she can do a Jai blink like Christine Adams did, and that's because her Jai is right here. It's always right there.
It's home base. It's home base, so it's always going to be dominant, even when you start going outward. Exactly. I get that.
So I think if you in your mind with your knee and Z, if you focus on that geometric, like you're talking about, of going forward in the plane as opposed to going up and down with stuff, this is much more of a forward energy or back energy. And
I get it.
And this relates actually to hoodedness. Perfect, Mike. Oh, this is great.
Oh, good. Because hoodedness is also another thing that we could talk a ton about, because there are unfamiliar things.
This is why you see how things build on each other.
Awesome.
You said you're able to see the gauziness in Jai in general.
Yes, I can.
That is one of 8 versions of hooded eyes.
Right.
If you can see the chilly gauziness.
Yep, it's going to be different.
That's another one of the hooded eyes. So the gauzy is actually also adapted hooded.
Oh, that's what. So that's really what hooded is sort of defined as.
Yes.
Like
So
this.
for all towers, they actually have a gauzy hooded, and then the hunters have a perch. All 4 hunters go into their perch, and that's where their hoodedness comes from. Make sense?
Okay. Yep. Different type of hoodedness.
Exactly. So now, you're kind of pulling on a thread. Now that you can see the gauziness some in the Jaini, you may be able to note the gauziness easier in a Zaini, because sometimes the Zai is a little hard to see. But your lens now has awoken to the gauziness of Jaini.
I mean, with that said, and being at level 2, I'm just getting exposed to the Zaini world in that sense also. So that's something that's going to emerge, and it already has started, but it's going to,
Oh, totally. And this is no pressure for performance. It takes as long as it takes.
totally.
Yeah. What I'm pointing out, though, is simply where you can step next. Kind of solving any kind of mathematical problem, you have to find some sort of given. And once you have a given, you can work yourself another given and then start stepping. All right.
That's right.
When you can see a Jaini gauziness, that will open you up to seeing the gauziness of other towers. If you can see gauziness in general, you're actually seeing part of hoodedness. You may be able to start seeing hunter hoodedness. And then, to get to your question, when a Jaini closes her eyes, you can say she's going home. You know why? You already can note the warm, gauzy hoodedness. If a person is hooded, when they close their eyes, nothing really changes. They're already
right.
Hooded. Closing your eyes is basically like the most hooded you get. But if you're already hooded, you're just like extra hooded.
I mean, just think about the term subjective versus objective. I mean, you're going to be subjective. You're going to be subjective when you have the hoodedness, but you're even going to be more subjective when the eyes are closed.
Totally.
I mean, it's totally subjective. There's no two ways about it.
And something that Demas mentions often is that to get certain kind of mathematic principles, you have to be able to observe the variable being discussed. So this is very important here. Like, so that's why I was very pleased that you were able to see the gauziness, because that means you're actually able to see a portion of the area your question about. Basically, what changes in that hooded, unhooded, going home, going under water quality. And if you can see that, you're seeing a little bit. But the more you can see that in Jaini, and then the rest of the subjectives and hoodedness, then you'll be able to tell if they're going home or not. That makes sense.
Totally.
So
totally.
you find the terrain. Once your eyes are able to easier see what is the hooded terrain, what is the unhooded terrain, then when they go in and out, whether it's natural or altered state, becomes easier to discern.
Is the principle of hoodedness? Does the principle of hoodedness change quite a bit for a Naiji, for example? I mean, is it the same type of in-out type of thing, or is it a just totally different thing because we're talking hunter versus gatherer?
It is in-out, but it looks a little different.
Or hunter versus tower.
But yes, the hunters have a different version of hooded. It's more of a hunter in a perch. And so...
and I recognize that.
All 4 of the hunters shared that. The Naiji have a particular one based on other powers. But what would happen is... you'll notice it'll be anything objective, but with the towers, that phenomenon I was talking about, the stretching out of their native state, you tend to notice most, which I mentioned with her, when she juts or speaking in a forward position. With the hunters, this shift, it'll be any time you go from subjective to objective, but the most dramatic shift for a hunter will be in your perch, hooded, and then V blazing eyes or dancing eyes in the moment. So in the moment, like right here, see, this is my V. My V is pushing out through my nod.
Right.
Never has relaxed, fun quality of normal V.
Right.
So anyway, so yes, so the hunters are different, but they still share the same thing. That there's something already on the eyes, so they close their eyes. It's not like anything then suddenly comes down. But that does if you had knee first, every time you close your eyes, you're actually putting a curtain on your perception power.
Yes.
So it gives that altered look.
Altered look, exactly.
I get it completely. Yeah,
Excellent.
Very cool.
Great
Outstanding.
What's the next one? Yeah, another.
The only other thing. Okay, this actually had a time. This was just something I didn't catch. One particular cue, and it was from 12 to 14 of the video. basically you mentioned about towers doing a swooping jut, a turning of the head jut, like this. And I just, all I saw was that she was basically shifting her weight. I didn't really see the exact type of thing. I'll just read to you what I wrote. I'm having considerable trouble seeing this exact maneuver, other than how she is simply shifting her weight forward, but I would imagine that any mojo could do that. Because it just seemed like a shift of weight. Like she was just moving.
I noted because she shifted her weight there, but it's actually how she shifted her weight.
Okay, might be a detail.
Yeah, it is. When Naiji, for example, shift their weight, their hunter hunch comes out when they shift in the seat.
Okay.
So with her, there is an overall energy that Jaini often have, particularly when they're, I don't know, kind of like being their more adaptable self. And that is that they have a collapsible, besides the hands and wrists we talked about, they have a collapsible spine. So two maneuvers that come from this is, and I believe she was doing it, is it's subtle to see. I'm used to reading body posture from grappling and so forth. I can see this on myself.
Of course.
Put me on screen. Okay, this may be difficult for people to see who aren't trained to do this, but if you know what you're looking at, my spine is actually erect in a power position. I could actually move forward with my forehead and push things quite.
When you say your spine, you mean your lower spine, or all the way up?
All the way up. I'm actually semi-straight, and this is key. If I'm curving this way in a lunging arc. Now I'm on the balls of my feet. I'm now not on the balls of my feet. But we taught the power arc in the fingers, in the wrist, in the arm. Okay, I have a power arc going from the balls of my feet all the way up to the tip of my head. And right now, I'm in it. And I'm leaning forward like she was leaning forward in her chair. Directives tend to actually do this. So it is not just leaning in. So that's how far it goes in. But also, it's subtle, but it's there. You're an animal, so you're actually reading this whether conscious mind knows it or not.
Of course.
I actually have a stronger forward posture. Because this is ergonomically, because I've done a lot of pushing other humans physically, I'm ergonomically currently, anyone who's grappling who watches me, they know what I'm talking about, I'm ergonomically in a position to push someone up against a wall or over. Okay, so that's because my spine is sort of up under my hips, and crucially, I'm curled this way. I'm curled from my hips and a long, strong arc going up into my forehead. Okay, with adaptives, one thing you'll see, and it's most pronounced in the towers. Here?
Okay.
Their back sways like this. It curves the opposite direction, with the belly going out, chest going out. So what happens is they put their forehead forward in a jut, but look at my position. I have my forehead forward, but it's aligned to my neck, into my spine, into my hips, a power arc.
Makes sense.
They do this. Their head's forward, and they collapse. I can't even do it. It's like they do their hands.
It's almost like concave versus convex.
It is, and they do this thing with their thing so that it yins up the yang jutting.
Totally true.
Okay.
Another thing they do is the shoulders. See my shoulders are here? They're forward, even if I do a slight down. This is actually power.
Sure.
I relax some, but still, these shoulders are designed to go forward. They do this thing where they actually roll their shoulders back and do this while jutting. So they'll both they'll put the spine that curve, and they'll also retreat their shoulders when they do their jut, and so it yins it up. Now she was facing the screen, so it looks like this. But when she adjusts in her chair, Jalen does it too. So does Demas. When they adjust their chair, their spine does this. Whereas a hunter, when they adjust their sheet, they adjust more like this.
Right.
They adjust their body weight while still maintaining a hunter hunch. That make sense?
Yeah.
So I was kind of saying how it looks to me like there's a wall, and I was exaggerating the motion with the face, but it's not just the face, it's actually this. That when they go into it, their energy runs up the wall. Their chest goes up the wall. Like
it's almost like doing the limbo.
Yes, exactly. They don't actually push through the wall. They don't penetrate it. But their head is making a, they're like, project, kind of they project their voice, and you can hear the viscosity. their body has like a yin viscosity to making forward juts.
Yeah.
So I just call it so more collapsible spine, but it does, just like the hand does. It kind of just collapses back on itself easily.
Yeah, it's sort of analogous.
Yeah, and it comes with several things mentioned before, like when they point, Demas does it, where he'll point, but his finger kind of like, do it, Demas.
Is this it?
Yeah, he does that thing.
Yeah.
And then also sometimes he also has the wrist where it bends back real easy like that. And that pointing gesture looks, that technically is a yang gesture, but has a lot of yin to it. The other one is when they actually will...
Like when I do that, it doesn't even feel like pointing.
No, it doesn't. Exactly.
If I do the same thing Ademus did, it doesn't feel like I'm pointing at someone. I have to like...
Total agreement.
Or if we do put more energy into like the
It'll
pointing,
splay.
and it bends back, kind of like the spine thing bending back.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. There's a bending back of the finger, bending back of the wrist, bending back of the back spine.
That's so...
Yeah, it's subtle because like it says she was facing front on, but she had that collapsible thing.
Yeah, I'm going to have to look at this again now given what you just told me. That makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, and it was something, I kind of noted there, but something I was actually kind of noting whenever she was moving around, she had that kind of collapsible posture.
Yeah, you had seen this before, so, I mean, you had seen this pattern before, so you were able to catch it.
It's exactly like that. Once you note that that's something they do, because it's not something showing, it's kind of like a subliminal message. But once I point this out to you, you'll notice that when people lean forward, they're either actually really, what I'll call like natural state leaning forward, or they're like altered state leaning forward, like they're sort of doing a yang move, but not like a directive would do it.
Yeah.
Makes sense? You'll see the same thing with directives. When they actually go into a more yin posture, they'll do this. Same thing here. La la, yin, yin, yin. And they'll sway back because that's what you do when you're being casual. But what gives them away is they actually still sometimes have their shoulders with this kind of forward roll energy. This is power shoulder. This is how you throw punches. So they're leaning back, but this is still pop, 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 pop. Also, my abs are in the position to do a crunch. So I'm leaning back, but I'm actually taut, like, ding,
Right.
ding, and so you kind of feel like there's tension going in the back. So they're like, I'm casual, bing, 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 bing. Yeah, there are quite a lot of cues in the body, but it takes a little time to get those ones down.
Right, natural.
Cool, that's fun.
Very nice.
Artie, what's up?
Yeah, that was it in terms of Christine Adams.
Okay, perfect. Was there anything else that you did?
Actually, there was more Christine Adams, but that was my own cue notation. Because
Okay.
I continued from the same video and just started from a minute into the video and went forward from there.
That's perfect. I believe what we want to do there is to have you do that. Let's do the YouTube, and then Jailene, Ademus, and Mitchell can take a look and confirm or not what you're seeing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Right.
And the time range is from 105 at the the earliest, all the way to 144.
Okay, and we should be able to see it on our YouTube apps. You guys have it on the left-hand side?
Yeah.
Let's see.
If you
No.
press on press on the
Not-
three dots, and
If
then
you don't have it, Mike, there's like a dot button, or it'll open.
Yeah.
Dot dot
You can,
dot.
like add apps. It
yeah,
might already be there, but if it's not, then
Yeah. I see it. Thanks, Mitchell.
cool,
Awesome.
awesome. So,
Well done.
Mike, could you load up the video?
Yes. Now I hope that I have it in front of me quickly. Oh, you know what? Let's see.
I think I have it actually. You want me to do it?
Yeah, if you could, Mitchell, that would be good.
Yeah,
Mike.
I have it.
Okay, so it looks like she's up. So you said a minute.
Christine,
Yeah?
it's impromptu interview time.
Sorry. Is it? Oh my god!
You knew you were getting interviewed now.
That just caught me. I mean, alright, I'm going to say Middlesex by photography and the other guy, the white guy. But
Actually, that is one of my favourite films of
come
all
on
time.
though.
Can't beat it.
You can't beat it, can you? It's flawless.
What about your iPod? What's on it?
What's on my iPod? Little Dragon. That's what the kids are listening to these days.
Take your word for it.
Bella Cutie and Erykah Badu and
Erykah Badu is just all time.
all time.
So is it.
Yeah, that's what's on my iPod.
If you weren't an actress, what would you be, Christine? Is it okay to call you an actress, by the way?
I don't mind.
Okay. If you weren't an actress, what would you be?
You know, I think I would have liked to be a dancer.
Really?
Yeah.
That's not a huge departure.
Do you want me to say something that's a huge departure?
No, a dancer will do fine. Thank you very much.
I don't want to lie. Yes.
And who have you worked with? What celebrity have you worked with that you want to spill the beans on?
I think that's Walt and Kelly.
Okay, so I think we went from a minute to 2 minutes, and that's where you said.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Okay. So shall I start?
Yeah.
Wait 1 second.
Okay.
Wait 1 second. Bring them up.
Go ahead.
Okay. Actually, let me just do one thing. Okay. All right. So, at 1:05, unifield face, the zhai goes upward beyond the brim line and into the eyes. Also notice the tautness all throughout her face and especially into the forehead area.
Yeah, I remember seeing that.
Yeah, definitely. I took note of that too.
Okay. 106. A few things to note. First, a bit of a head swivel that a tower can often do, often to set up a jutting motion. Second, notice that her eyes are actually closed in zhai resonance, even in the midst of a jutting motion. Typical of zhai ni to do this rather than a ni zhai.
Yeah, that heavy resonance where.
Heavy resonance, yeah. Well, kind of a cynicism of like doing heavy resonance while jutting like the mouth forward. Is that what you're talking?
Yeah, exactly. Okay, 107, just a simple zhai head tilt.
Eyeless.
Say that again, Mike.
107, zhai head tilt.
Okay, let's see, 107. Let me go
So,
back.
I do remember her doing zhai head tilts in general.
107, 107, okay. 107. Yeah, I saw it there.
Yeah, kind of like right up into 107.
Yeah.
Tilted a little bit, and then she kind of came out of it.
Perfect. Okay. Again 107, an extended going home maneuver that lasts until 110.
That's right. Yeah, the initial head tilt kind of kicks off that going inside and resonate.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
She said these days, she
Yeah.
sort of like head tilts to the right and then sort of like
Yeah.
stays there a little bit, gets a little back, and then comes back.
Right.
How
You can hear her voice. As her voice kind of
Is it on you guys?
no. You can hear her voice catch with the zhai tower tunnel. It accentuates as she starts off with a head tilt and then goes inside.
Makes sense. Totally. 112. Great view of how the mouth comes out to the viewer more dominantly than the eyes. Also notice the gauzy look in her eyes that is a trademark zhai appearance that we were just talking heavily about earlier.
Yeah, you can see it still a little bit there, but you were saying the heaviness of the
zhai.
zhai.
Yeah, heaviness of the zhai.
Tower tunnel.
Yeah, and it had bite to it too, which
It did,
gave
Oh, sure.
added weight and concern. So
Yeah.
concern-
Interesting. You could see points kind of. Yeah, when she went in to the left, you could actually see kind of poignancy surrounding the concern as she went into, reach for by.
That
Yeah.
makes sense.
Which is something you were talking about before, how when they kind of when they double scope a shiny versus a Nijai, when they go into Vi, then you can. You were saying that you could let the Jai kind of well up. To a large
Yeah, exactly. That it kind of goes. The Jai can be retained versus for a Nijai, it's going to go along with a Z, and hence Jai is a little bit downgraded. Okay. What's next? Okay, 119, a combination knee plus Z double barrel while at the same time maintaining a Jai head tilt.
115. Let's see.
119.
119. Yeah. Yeah, I did see their
Yeah, she did.
long maneuver.
Yeah, that was interesting. That was an interesting one. She did. It was a perk up, but at the same time, like a shrug to the right with a Jai grimace.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, 121, just a Jai drift. Just a eye drift.
Just thought, yeah, she did a quick Jai eye drift.
Yeah. Yep. Okay, 127, a combined Vi check with a Vi plus Jai channeling inward, which lasts until 129.
Yeah, when he asked her whether if she wasn't an actress, what would she be, and she had to go to her Vi and Jai. She was actually like toggling back and forth between the two. You could see
Right.
her eyes kind of shifting from left to right rapidly.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's trying to come up with something that her Jai would feel comfortable with, and something that So
But
yeah,
that's a specific question.
yeah, but it would answer that specific question. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. 130, an pause with unaware open mouth and Jai slack tongue.
Yeah, that's her still trying to figure out an answer to this question.
Right.
Yeah. I think it passed a little bit, but yeah, I did hear when she came back from the 1,000-yard stare with Vi and Jai, and then she came in and she sort of paused like
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
I do that a lot.
Yeah.
Let's see. I just did it now. 133. Another common tower move where a knee perk up is juxtaposed with a Jai head swivel away from the interviewer that facilitates her channeling. During this maneuver, her unaware mouth is wide open as she is resonating using Jai.
Yeah.
Where she looks she actually looked in her Vi, and she's like, with her, she had the mouth open for her Jai, and then she like came back with an answer. So, but yeah, like this, and actually she had some knees.
Yeah, definitely.
Some first knee, actually her knee triggered her to go to her Vi, because it was like there was like this like perk up surprise, and then she went to her Vi, and then she
Go get a nugget.
Yeah, to go get a nugget.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, 134. Note that as she reorients her face towards the interviewer, objective, she keeps her eyes closed, Jai. Interesting juxtaposition.
There, right?
Just before I think when she jutted out, she had her eyes closed and she did it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then it's the comfortability.
It's kind of like
underwater.
When the objectives go to their subjective powers, they have that kind of like a little like going underwater gives them a little tension around the eyes, like the water's going over my eyes.
I totally relate to that.
Subjective, it's almost like the water is the environment.
Yeah.
And you're sticking your face in it. And so that's why sometimes subjective, when they're doing it, they close their eyes, because for us it feels like we're going underwater when we go out.
Yeah.
Like jutting, that's because I put my face right in water.
Interesting. It's the exact opposite sensation.
Yeah,
which makes sense,
for
naturally.
for objectives, the water's kind of like right behind your eyes, and then you go back under it.
Right.
That's it. Really,
Total reversal.
For us, it's like you're putting it where wrong. Yeah. Like whenever I like jut out a lot, I have to like resist the desire, like really squint my eyes.
True.
Yeah.
When she's listening to the interviewer and she and juts her head forward, then you see she does anvil, but you can also see like the jive purse in her lips. But moreover, you can see that kind of stretched mesh quality where
Yes.
I still have that gauzy look. With the Nijai, when they're pulling the same maneuver, you usually see a lot of double barreling at that point because
Totally.
while they're forward with Z, they're also drinking in with their knee.
Right. Wow. Just shows you how important this analogy really is. So, I never knew of this analogy until this week, so I'm pretty blown away by it.
Totally, and you'll get a lot of use out of it. It comes up in making a lot of
Wonderful.
Particularly in distinguishing inverse mojos. I use it a lot.
Awesome. Okay, two more. 136. Note again the juxtaposition of a Vi check with intense Zhai resonating on the inhale. This usage of intense Zhai while going into Vi is considerably more common in Zhaini than Nijai.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just saw that where she kind of like, she actually leaned back as she did it too. She leaned back, looked to the left with her mouth open, and then she came back and she had her eyes closed a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Yeah, I saw that. It was a pretty interesting maneuver where she kind of went first to her momentum.
It's not deepest.
No. Or I don't know.
Yeah.
Going into her equilibrium to kind of get ready to come back and articulate again.
That makes sense.
Is there anything more?
Last one. 144. Heavy Z articulation as she faces the interviewer head on. Note also gauzy, weighty look in her eyes, as well as significant tautness throughout her face.
So what were you referring to in this one, particular one, Mike?
Just a classic Zhaini look in terms of just the tautness in the face and sort of the gauziness in the gauzy look in the eye.
I'm referring to also when she did like head move, when she did have that gauzy.
It did have the gauzy look that came up on her face even stronger.
Yeah, just a couple times, I think Anthony mentioned it, where she does like a little swivel head toss into her Zhai. It's a little more down looking than just like a normal like sway back into it. It's sort of like playful swing back and then come back. But she gets her Zhai that way. It's actually it's a cool game.
Interesting.
Definitely looks more vigorous and it makes her like doing those kind of like head swivel moves. It kind of made her cadence seem a little quicker than sometimes Zhaini do, which can make it easier to confuse for an Zhai.
Yeah.
Because it's a subtle thing, but like blah blah blah, head to the right and then back. But she kind of went like bobble bobble swing bobble, and it gives a little more like a quicker cadence.
Okay.
But still, the viscosities of a pilot.
Yeah.
Right.
Excellent.
And that is it.
Thank you.
Cool. Okay, and so we're done with that part of it.
Excellent. Is it now time for the quizzing?
I believe so.
Yeah.
All right, buddy, pull them out.
Okay, let me print out my guesses.
I've got them in front of me.
Okay.
Everybody have them good.
I don't have them yet, so let me see.
Okay, I got it.
One second. Okay. Okay. Got it.
Alrighty, let's do this thing. You guys tell me what you got. That's what the answer is. So, Jilin.
Okay. So the first one
Daphne
is
Ashbrook.
okay. I put Nizai for her.
Naji.
I put Ziny.
And I put Nizai.
Daphne Ashbrook, the actress from Doctor Who, is a Nizai.
Yay!
So was that 2 out of 4?
Yeah, 2 out of 4.
Next, Colin Baker, an actor from Doctor Who.
I put Nizai.
Nazi.
I put Ziny.
Nizai.
I don't think anyone got him today. Colin Baker is an IG.
Wow.
Wow.
0 out of 4.
Alright.
I guess we know one of the ones that will be in next week's
Tutorial.
It could be.
Possibly.
Possibly.
Next is John Barrowman.
I put Shinai.
Tricky one. Was he Baiji?
What do you
Oh, I
got?
put Naiji.
And I put Naizi.
Okay, he was hard. He was a tricky one. I believe he is a Nizai.
Ooh.
He's a
Into
toughie.
consciousness.
Yeah,
Yes.
she- he-
0-4? Did anyone get it right?
I don't think so.
No.
That was tricky. That was a tricky one because that's not something you normally see.
I
Yeah.
did Shinai.
Wow.
Yeah. You don't tend to be Nizai in those kinds of roles.
No, you don't.
Next up is Robbie Benson.
I put Naiji for him.
Jinai.
I put Naiji.
And I put Naiji.
He is Naiji.
So 3 out of 4.
Next up is the actor Caleb Blue.
I put Naizi for him.
Nazi.
Naizi.
Naiji.
It is Naizi.
Okay.
Had that mouth.
3 out of 4.
I totally noticed that.
Yeah,
I like leaving.
that jumped. Yeah.
Next up is Lindy Booth, actress in 4400.
I put Zaini.
Ziny.
Ziny.
Nizai.
She is a Ziny. Close there on these ones,
Yeah.
so if Nadine Cullen, you've been close on. Next up, this one was a toughie, I
Yeah.
think. Camilla Bowles, Duchess of Cornwall.
Yeah, there was a lot of footage to provide. I put Baiji.
Bijai.
Mitchell,
Ziny.
Vaiji.
she was tough. She was really tough. She's a Dijai.
Nice.
Okay.
Ooh.
Yes, a very sensible, stiff upper lip Dijai.
Yeah, I actually had to compare to a Duchess of York, Fergie. I don't remember her name. But yeah, the other Duchess Bijai. Just to get my head around like royalty Bijai.
The royalty, yeah, it's little
Yeah,
stuff here.
yeah.
So that was a 0 out
Oh,
of 4?
yeah, you're right. That definitely.
1 out of 4. Adima's got that.
Oh, nice.
I'm sorry, were you saying something, Mitchell?
No, I was agreeing with what you were saying about like the kind of stuffiness, sort of not what you're normally used to with Vishai.
Let's see here. Josh Bowman, actor from Revenge.
I have Jinai.
Gina.
G9.
Naiji.
He is a Jinai. Next up is Brigid Brenna, actress.
I have Nizai for her.
Naiji.
I had Nizai.
Naiji.
She's Nizai.
Okay.
I might do that one. We're starting next to that one because both Adimus and Infiniti both thought that. And there's another one up here before where we're thinking Nizai versus Naiji female. I might actually do a little something on that.
Yeah.
So there's a 2 of 4. 2 of 4, right?
2 of 4 on that one, yeah. Next up is Peter Capaldi, actor from Doctor Who.
I put Zaini for him.
Nazi.
I said Ziny.
Zaini.
It is Zaini.
Okay.
Yeah, he was so stuffy. Yeah.
Next up is Claudia Christian, actress, Babylon 5.
Okay, I have Zaini for her.
Shiny.
Ziny.
Jaini.
It is Zaini.
Okay.
Next up,
Can't recognize your own.
oh, it's
So
okay.
sad.
Walking in Memphis.
I miss the Naishi, so.
Next up is Mark Hahn, music artist.
I have Naiji for him.
Shiny.
I had Naiji.
Naiji.
It's Naiji.
Okay.
Next up is Sheila Cornell, Dean of Academic Affairs, Columbia.
I have Zenai for her.
Z9.
D9.
Nijai.
She is Zenai.
I actually kind of found her tricky. But
Yeah.
Sometimes Nijai and Zenai can be tricky. Me and Davis have talked about that.
Yeah.
At some point, I'm going to want you to bring that up. At some point, I wouldn't mind having a discussion on that
Cool.
because I have trouble with that actually.
Yeah, that does come up, that issue between the two.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Who's next? Michael Craze, actor.
I have Zaini for him.
Nizy.
I had Naizi.
Naizi.
It is Naisi.
Okay.
Next up, Martin Cummings, actor.
I have Shinai.
G9.
G9.
Naizi.
He is Jinai. By the way, that one comes a lot too. The Jinai
True, yeah.
male.
Oh, totally. Even in the collaging.
Yeah.
Big time.
It's probably as much as any other.
Or is that just your,
the,
your paper? I think it's
yeah.
like
paper, I
light.
guess. Yeah.
Let's try to adjust.
Adjust.
Next is Henry Kazerny, an actor.
I have Naizi.
Nizy.
Naizi.
Naizi.
It is Naizi.
Yay!
Yeah, that's a. He popped apparently. Next up is Josh Dallas.
I have Shinai for him.
G9.
I said Naiji.
Naiji.
It's Jinai. Got a lot of close ones. You guys get a lot of close ones over there.
Right.
Let's see, Arthur Darville, actor.
Naiji.
Nizy.
I said Naiji.
Naiji.
Tuffy, Zaini.
Oh!
What? I gotta say
Wow.
that.
Oh, you got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, did anyone get it?
No.
No. Wow.
All right. Next up is Wendy Davis.
I have Shiny for her.
Z9.
Jaini.
Who? Mitchell.
Is he frozen?
Oh, Mitchell.
Uh-oh.
See, yeah, I don't see him moving.
Oh, yeah. He's frozen.
Expression.
Yeah.
Oh. Mitchell.
Oh.
Let me send him another invite.
Okay.
Sometimes I...
The answer is Johnny.
Oh, yay!
Okay.
Yes,
Good.
sir. Okay.
Mm.
Well, what happened to us? Where's our figure? Okay.
All right, I guess we'll just go ahead and keep going. We'll get them when we come back. Is Elisa Diaz, actress?
I put Vijay.
Nijai.
Jaini.
She was tough. I believe that is a G9.
Oh.
Ooh.
Yeah.
All right, so that's the quiz at the time.
Sweet.
Okay, so I guess we'll get the statistics on these last two.
Yeah.
Oh, is it two more?
Well, no.
Oh,
we
for
need
Mitchell.
For Mitchell.
Yeah. I'm sure I'll come back on. So why don't we go ahead and pull up a emoji reading to do as our last thing to do here. We got time to do one of those.
Okay. Let me just check this. See if he's sent us an email.
Nice work, guys. That's fun.
Yeah.
It is. It is.
Yeah, and you really see where like you're. It's kind of like you're throwing a dart in the same. You know where the target is, and you're sort of like constellating, so you see like this scatter.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
It's like where is the electron?
Yeah.
It could be anywhere in that cloud.
Yeah. Getting
Well,
close.
quantum mechanics there. Yeah.
So who should we pick for the majority?
Pick anyone that's listed as. I guess I can just grab some this here. Well, no. Sure.
Yeah, someone from here.
Hey guys.
Oh,
there.
hey, Mitchell.
Okay.
So-
Sorry, I had a crash.
No worries. Let's
I
see.
had so many tabs open, my internet just crunched. The live thing, adds even more stress to the processor.
Oh man.
While we have you, what do you have for Wendy Davis?
For Wendy Davis, I had Signee.
Okay, close. She's shiny.
Yeah,
Mm,
so
okay.
1 out of 4 with
Okay, what were the statistics for? What was the?
1
how
out of
many?
4. 1 out of 4 for Wendy Davis.
And then what did you have for Alyssa Diaz Mitchell?
I had Nee Jive.
She was G9, so.
Yeah. Nobody got her.
Nobody got her.
Zero out of 4.
Cool. All right, so now we are booting up someone to take a live read at. Remember, this is an extremely difficult ritual. Doing it like this, recorded, only a limited amount of time. So don't take it hard on yourselves, but it's fun to give things like this a go.
Did these?
Actually, yeah, anything that says up next.
Yeah. Okay. Nice. Okay. Cool. And
Shoot, go to the bottom of up next. Look up.
okay. Okay, we're gonna read Olaf Dreiser.
Yep.
Pull him up on the YouTubes for us.
Okay.
So, since I'm the control on this, I just mentioned that I have not read this sample yet, so I'll give it a go. If I'm unable to pull it, I'll let you know. Usually I can.
Okay.
Cool.
Oh. And here we go. So
Yeah, who
we
are
would
we
be
reading?
reading the mail.
Yeah.
We're reading the mail.
Mail.
Uh,
The two of them
Mail.
are
What's his
random.
name?
Yeah, so on the left-hand side, if you're looking at the screen,
What's his name?
Olaf. So
Dreiser.
OLAF.
F. Yeah, and Dreijer.
Yep, got it.
Cool.
Okay.
Okay. I mean, that's good. That's
okay,
decent.
cool. There you go.
Okay, that was
All right.
one interview. Here is another one. Again, I think so. It'll be between that one that we just watched and this following one because I see they have some additional interviews, but they have masks on. So that's,
Uh-oh.
that's not going to be very helpful. But it seems.
Yep.
Yeah.
What's that? Pictures. Yeah, we do have pictures. So let's take a look at the other video though. Yeah, we're just gonna watch it on our own.
Yeah, we just went screen share.
Yeah. Cool.
Okay.
That's the end of that one.
Pictures.
Cool. So you guys,
Okay.
Yeah, we can.
we can all look on a picture on our own, and then when you're ready to send in your guesses, just go ahead and email them over to us.
Sounds great.
What's the person's name again?
Olaf, O-L-O-F, last name D-R-E-I-J-E-R, Dreiser.
Dreiser. Okay.
Coach.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think you're just in with the old school look. We're talking about,
Yeah.
All right. Sending mine.
And here they're all the.
Okay, we got everything in.
Okay. So, Jilene, what do you think he was?
I put Naiji
Demas?
Naji.
Mitchell?
and the
And Nizi.
Nice. No, I believe this is a Nijai.
oh man, I was wondering about
Mm.
that.
She's Naiji. They're
Naiji,
Nijai.
yeah, she looked
okay.
Naiji.
Why don't you guys watch it again
Yeah.
real quick here, and we'll call it a night.
Okay.
Oh my.
Yeah, I believe that this is a Nijez couple.
Yeah, I was pondering that, but
Are they brother and sister, or are they dating? What is it?
I don't know. Let's
They
see.
last name, don't they?
Olaf, Dreiser. Yeah, let's see. I don't know that they do actually. Yeah, they're siblings.
Siblings.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they're in a band called
Called The Night.
The Night.
Yeah.
Vi vill väl göra mer rakt på sak musik den här gången. Vi försökte göra någonting tydligare och mer direkt.
Låter sjunger som man. Varför gör ni det?
There's the
Det är just i kanske
That's
Shy mouth.
That's
Shy.
shy. Oh,
vissa
man.
budskap
It's a player.
So, Infinity, you were seeing Jai and Z.
får en extra
Yeah.
That's definitely Shy Mouth.
göra det som kille. För att
Oh my.
gång på gång av tjejer.
That's obvious. Not like these, I need dancing.
But Nijai can be very shy.
Som tjejer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we've noted before in interviews with Nijez couples, any kind, like just friends, siblings, romantic, whatever, is that the Naiji generally does most of the talking. So even though the Naiji is the subjective, they do most of the talking.
The she user.
Right.
That's before, like with the Nizez.
Yeah.
Often, like in the vlogging, it was the Nizai.
Exactly.
Wow.
Oh, look at Shy. Shy did it. He's doing those little shy purses.
Yeah.
Det är väldigt roligt att fixa ner Crisis.
This is something that Adimas talks about a lot, is understanding what objective is. He's drinking in constantly. If you're looking for him to be using articulation or pushing the environment, that's not the kind of objective he is. He's an adaptive objective. So
Right.
all the time his eyes are open big and drinking, that's objective power use. But he's kind of sitting there in his chair.
True.
Slurp,
Very
slurp, slurp,
true.
slurp, 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 slurp. You know what I mean? See, when he goes quiet, he'll just be drinking, but he's not making noise.
Yeah.
Take the
Yeah,
objective
not like drifting like Naiji does, kind of.
noise or a wave. But actually, drinking powers don't do either of those.
Yeah, Mitchell was saying.
Sorry, go ahead, Mitchell.
No, I was just saying, like, he's not like drifting like Naiji do. We're like not even there, kind of.
Yeah, he's a shark.
Yeah.
Good point. Yeah, 'cause
Yeah,
he's-
that's true.
He's more attentive.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, very-
He's quiet. That's the thing. Nishai are often quiet, but they're very attentive. That's what you have to look out for.
Right.
Whereas like with Naiji, if you like poke them or something, they'd be like, whoa.
exactly.
Look at that.
Like her, make no mistake, that is faux casual. That's
Oh
not
yeah.
casual.
Yeah, look at her just looking like wow, the way she watches him, pouring into him.
Jag har jobbat med det så länge. Så då följdes det inte så naturligt att börja
She's going inward.
sätta igång.
But yeah, see the difference?
And again, Infinity,
Yeah.
she's in, she's aware. That face is aware it's being watched. He was
Yes.
out the whole time. He's been looking out the whole time, but his shy was unaware. So his eyes are aware of the audience, but his mouth,
Right.
where she's actually not paying attention to the audience, now still like, they're looking at me.
Look at that.
Yeah, that's objective. See, Demas, most people cannot recognize that he's doing, that's objective what he's doing right
That's
now.
really interesting. Yeah.
That's me and Z.
Yeah.
And his shy,
And how much he's paying attention to the environment.
yeah.
Right.
But most people right now would say he's subjective, she's objective. That's
Of course.
Totally
because she's
wrong.
talking.
Of course.
He's forward drinking in, she's back actually monologuing.
Look at that.
Just nu håller vi på
Oh,
This is really eye-opening, actually. This
I know.
video.
I love these.
Yeah, no.
som vill handla med H.
Yeah, ample cheeks there on delivery.
Som förmodligen kommer på biograferna i höst, eventuellt lite senare. Så då gör vi
Look at that.
all musik som är i filmen. Håller vi på och börjar bli klara nu då.
There, he did the pause and shy after the double barreling that we talked about between knee shy and shy knee.
Hur tänker man då? Ska det vara...
Do you see that? He did like mostly like a. Okay, that looked good.
Yeah.
And there he's doing the shy inward lip thing they do a lot.
Oh God, yeah. I know that too well.
It's awesome.
Filmen
Well,
är
we watched
en
about 5
ungdomsfilm,
minutes of
Cool.
it already.
Excellent.
thriller,
Excellent.
som handlar om
Taking that in, but
Cool.
that's great. That's a real eye opener.
Yeah.
Totally. And cool energy too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I enjoyed reading them because they had cool energy, and it was cool reading one. They had cool energy, and they did a lot of creative costumey stuff. So I had to kind of like go through that.
Yeah.
And then they have a bit of a European bone structure, and also the way they move. There was a bit of that
For sure.
European style to it a bit.
Yeah.
I think European, Scandinavian, what are they?
Scandinavian.
Scandinavian, but it has a different rhythm to it. They definitely don't look like just normal white people from Midwestern USA. Yeah, so I had to factor in on like his face because he had like a sort of oddly elven face. I was like,
Yeah.
what the
That's it.
hell is that?
Like
Yeah.
cheekbones.
Yeah, exactly. I was trying to like,
chiseled
what is that?
features.
Yeah, and then what else? Oh, then the fact that we didn't get to understand their language
Right.
made it
Yeah.
a more interesting read as well. Good stuff. But yeah, so nice little exciting case to end on. Is there anything before we sign off?
Enjoy, everyone.
Totally.
That's all I'm going to say.
Excellent. Okay, so everyone,
Hello, world.
yay world, hey world, the first recording. Hopefully it'll get out there. All right, so we are pioneering people here, pioneering heroes doing cool new research. So hope people follow our journeys and they'll take a journey of their own to a higher state of enlightenment. Good stuff. What else we got?
Indeed.
Infinity, you'll do what you did last week again.
Yep.
That was wonderful. Please continue like that.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
Putting the quiz answers out and the new quiz for the next week.
Excellent. That worked great. The 20 plus the 30,
Yeah.
that seemed to work ideally. So keep
Yeah.
doing that.
Yeah, that was great.
We'll continue on with doing some extra credit incantation, although we're not going to have a Demas for a little bit. Next weekend we won't have him, but he'll be back after that.
Oh.
But we should have been.
So, cool times.
She'll be
Good.
I don't miss you guys.
Totally. All right. Have a great night, everybody.
Yeah.
We'll see you next time.
Take care, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Good night.